Hey everyone, it looks like the GoToWebinar recording had an issue for our recent action movie webinar. So what I'm going to do is just reproduce this for you guys, only the live demo part, so you don't have to worry about the presentation and everything like that. So we're just going to run through this just so you have all the steps that I went through. Okay, so again, what I did basically is go to my props and I set up my scene here. So under props, under terrain, I have under terrain the mesh medium section, which you should all have included with iClone 6. And I double clicked on the combat stage, and that loaded in our nice looking combat stage here. We can also hold Alt and Shift to zoom out faster at a faster speed. Just a little tip for you there. Alright, so we'll just start over here, and I added in a sky and under sky, let's just add in that clear day over here, and I also added in some water. So under water, we can just go and add in some gentle wave water, and we had to change that the height of that water to I think it was -10. There we go. Alright, so now we have this road section right here. And that's pretty much it for our scene setup. So what I want to do now is just bring in my character. Alright, we can press Control G to turn off the grid if we want, by the way. I'm going to take my character, buddy Christian over here. I'm going to custom actually and see if we have any cool characters in here. We could have Bruce Lee, or this Deckles guy might be a cool guy to bring in. I like this Deckles guy. He has some cool looking, mean looking tattoos. He looks more like a action movie hero anyways. Alright, so we'll just take this guy and let's do the same thing to him. We're going to create some a running animation for him. So over to Motion tab, a Motion Puppet. And again, we're just going to go directly to Move and Basic Run. Press the space key to preview. And there we have it. We have this guy just like, jogging along at a leisurely pace. So again, we can just go ahead and lean forward, lean our character forward, have him slouch a little bit as well. And we need to go a little bit further down as well and lengthen the stride so it looks like he's running a bit faster. And we want the bouncing hips. We want those hips to be bouncing a lot right there, swaying the hips a lot, have a loose neck, and sway more. I'll have him sway. Alright, so now he's really running, and add that exaggeration to about 100 and whatever, 110, something like that. Alright, looking good, but obviously again we need to fix those arms, so let's just record a couple steps of that. So record 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, good enough. Alright, and then what we want to do is close that down, go back to frame 1 here, and I'm going to make sure his arms are positioned correctly. So let's go to the Edit Motion Layer tool, and let's take this arm, shoulder rather, bring it down a little bit so it looks a bit more natural. This one, bring it down a bit. And remember, doing this at frame 1 is what you need to do, because then it will affect the entire clip. We can probably bring the shoulders forward a little bit as well. Something like that I think should be okay. Choose the right shoulder, bring that one forward. And take those elbows and rotate them outward slightly. There we go. Just like that. Alright, so let's take a look at how that looks if we just scrub through our timeline. Alright, looking good, but let's take that one elbow for a little bit further back there. There we go. I'll show something like this. Okay, and do the same thing for the other one. Let's take that elbow a little bit back as well. There we go. Okay, so I think we're good. He's looking, threatening and angry right there. You can, probably even push him forward a little bit more. Take his head forward, put his head down like that. Alright, so now we have our characters run. So what I can do here is I can actually press the G hotkey, and that's going to give us a direct overhead view of our guy. You can see he has that cool symbol on his back right there. So I'm just going to zoom out, and we're going to go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we'll have him press the W hotkey, move him forward relative maybe to about there, and then play that back. Alright, and he's kind of moving fairly quickly. Let's press F3, go into the timeline with our decal guy selected. We can go to this frame, and maybe let's take this transform keyframe to about 200, and he'll run a little bit faster. There you go. You can't really gauge it from above, so let's use the we can use the J, or not the J rather, SD, F, D or F, go from behind or to the side. Those hotkeys. Let's take a look at this one here. This looks realistic. All right, I think he's doing pretty well right there. We can probably even bring it up a little bit further. All right. Anyhow, and if we wanted to make it even faster, we can bring him forward even further at that point. So now he'll be like, okay, good enough for me. We probably could have increased the speed of his run, but we'll worry about that another time. All right, so at this point here, this is where we want him to be slammed against the truck. So let's take our truck again, props, under props, and I have the iCar, where was it here? iCar body shop right here. All right, under there, iCar, let's just load in that big old truck. There we go, bring it over here. And now if I don't right click and remove object animation for this truck, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be like moving from there to there. All right, so what we want to do is at this frame, right click it, remove object animation, and now it'll stay put. All right, so we have the dude walking up, running up, running up, running up. Where's this transform keyframe? There we go. So at this frame right here, I'm going to right click my clip, motion clip, break it, and delete the remainder, because we want from here, we want him to be slammed against that truck. Let's also go to our render tab and make our output size larger, 720p. There we go. Okay, so from here then to here, he's going to be within the span of a few frames thrown against this truck violently. So let's use the E hotkey, rotate him, and bring him up. Boom, just like that. All right, so he'll be just like, boom, going against the truck. Now let's take his, go to our modify tab, and at this frame right here, we can go to our edit motion layer tool right here. We can press, double click on our timeline actually. Let's go open up the, where are we here? We have the character selected. Oh yeah, open up our motion layer track right here. All right, and in the motion layer track, let's take out the materials right now. In the motion layer track, I want to double click at that frame, add a keyframe, and here we're going to have him, slam against the truck and his legs outstretched and everything like that. So let's take off the locks for those ankles there. We can bring the legs up a little bit like this. So it looks like he's actually been, thrown up against the truck quite heavily. There we go. Take those arms forward as well. Something like that. Rotate them and take that arm out like that. And open his hand. Oops, wrong hand. There we go. Let's take this, rotate that arm outwards like that. And this one can be probably put a little bit forward as well. There you go. Oops, yeah, it's a little bit too weird looking. There we go. Okay, we're just going to work with that. So we have the guy slammed up against the truck like this. And then with our truck, we actually probably want to move our truck a little bit forward here. There we go. Okay. And again, remove object animation there. So right here is where the truck impacts. So let's create a transform track, or transform keyframe rather, and then here we'll rotate it. The truck slated back like that. And from here, with our dude selected, from here to here, let's have him move a little bit further back as well. There we go. And I will just place him right about there. There we go. So now we have something like this. And then from here, he'll slide forward, slide back down to the ground, and end up like this. All right, and we'll take that truck, right click and copy this keyframe, the first keyframe, and then replace it over here. All right, so then we have this, basically something like this. Yeah, we probably want to stretch that out a little bit. Okay, so again, it's really fast, but probably a little bit faster than we'd like originally, but we'll work with it for now. Okay, and then so here, and then at this point here, we want our guy to go back into his original pose, or rather get into a pose where he's kind of bending over, and we'll take his back right there, and we'll just do something like this. And obviously we don't want his arms to be out weird like that. Let's take off the locks on his legs too. Move those a little bit inwards there. The arms look a little bit strange, stretched out, so let's take those and bring them down like this. There we go. Bring it back out a little bit. Up slightly. Let's take that wrist and bring it down like this. Alright, and same thing with the other one. So this is the most time-consuming part really of the whole process, just getting your positions right with the motion key editing. And take this arm down like that. Okay, good enough. So now he looks like he's been wrecked. Take his waist and move it down as well, something like that. Oh, now I have to move his arms back up. Gosh darn it. There we go. Okay. We will work with that. Alright, so now, boom. Landing like this and stunned as to what's going on around him. Oops, looks like he's going too far into the ground. Let's take him back up. Okay, we're going to work with that. Okay, so now he's going against the truck like that. Let's zoom out and do the effects. So the second part is the effects. So we want the effects to take place right about here, right before he starts to move, starts to be blown away. So we'll go to props. Under props, whoops, let's go to special effects volume 1. We used the, you can purchase this in the content store, by the way. We used the, what did we use? Explosion. There's a ground explosion. Let's just apply it right to there. Again, you can press Control D to turn your dummy on and off. Let's move it over here a little bit. And right click, remove object animation. And right click and perform effect on. Boom. Okay. So you can see the timing a little bit better probably than on the actual webinar. So with the ground explosion, you can see the keyframe right there. Let's go into our animation track. And it's a little bit too late. Let's have it a little bit earlier. Okay. And we want to make that a lot faster as well. So let's make sure we have speed toggled on here. And I'm just going to increase the speed on that by making the clip smaller. Okay, so boom. Okay. And probably a little bit earlier might be better as well. I'm not going to be too picky on that. You can get all that stuff taken care of a little bit later. Alright, at the same time, we're going to add in that brick effect again. So let's go to special effects volume, I think it was 3? Yeah, 3. And we have the brick floor. Just click and drag that one in. Press the R hotkey, scale a little bit smaller, something like that. Move it down below our street level, and maybe over here. Right click, remove object animation. Right click, perform, explode. And we have to do the same thing with that. We want to make sure that it is faster. So again, with brick floor, go to animation layer. And I think it's a little bit late as well, so we'll move it down, make it faster. There we go. Alright, so there you go. And we can probably, one thing that we didn't do in the original webinar is change the material. So I have, I believe, well, let's go to my materials here. I have a special production resources folder here. Texture maps, there we go. And let's take that asphalt, click and drag it onto the bricks. There we go. So now we have asphalt bricks. Oops. The bricks are still there. The sides are asphalt now. Oh. So let's just click and drag it and onto the surface of the bricks. Okay, good enough for me. All right, not an exact match, but you can find an exact match if you really wish to do so. All right, so then let's go from here, the explosion, and this is probably where we want the fire to start. So we'll add our particle effects. Go to, whoops, not this one, particles down here. Fire and smoke. Load in the hellfire. And load in our thick smoke as well, in the exact same position. Alright, so at frame 1, let's go to scene, and we will select our hellfire, and emit needs to be off at this point. off. And thick smoke needs to be off as well. Play back. Come on. There we go. Okay, and I'll start it right here. Emit on for thick smoke. Make emit on for hellfire. And I believe we had an emit volume of 200, and we kept that at 60, I believe. So then we had an effect like this. Alright, and our smoke, where's the smoke? Oh yeah, we have the smoke coming up there as well. Okay, just the fire's so big. And alright, not sure. Let's play this back really quick. Alright, so our explosion seems to be off the ground for some reason. Let's take that and we'll lower it. Oops, not this one. Brick floor. No, it's the explosion was too high. So I'm not sure why that was so high. Alright. Ground explosion a little bit higher. There we go. Just so those are right above the ground. Okay. And that should be okay. Just right click, remove object animation. No, but then we need to apply it one more time. Not sure what happened there, but we will now have to right click, oops, and oops, make sure our explosion is selected. Right click and perform effect on. There we go. Okay, now those parts are on the ground. Okay, so not sure why that happened. Got explosion. Let's just make it a little bit faster. There we go, and we should be good to go. Oof. A little bit further up. Oof. All right, good. Okay, so we have the explosion. We have all that stuff. Let's take a look at the camera work now. So with our character select, I can press the F hotkey to focus on his front. We'll create a camera. And we want the camera to link, pick parent, pick our character. And we don't want to pick our character's spine. We want to pick the bone root right here. And if we pick the hip, for example, look what would happen right here. Obviously, we don't want that. That's what I showed you in the previous example. So let's go and select the root. Okay, and now we're linked to the root. And the run looks super slow. So what we need to do is, with our camera selected, change our camera focal length to 20 millimeters. I think that was what we chose before. And now our character is going to look like he's running super fast. Alright, so play back. And we could probably fix that run a little bit, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. Right here, I want to unlink the camera. Maybe a little bit before that. I think right about here. Let's press Control D and get rid of those dummies there. Is our camera selected? Yes, it is. Unlink from the bone root, and our character selected. Go to the next frame. We'll have doof, just like this. Next frame. Move our camera around so it's shaking. Next frame. Next frame. Next frame. Just moving it. And again, really all we're doing here is just going to the next frame and creating some camera shaking. And we want the camera to follow this guy, so and then to about here, we have it going down to about here, and so now what we have is something like this. Oof, the camera shaking like that. Some wild camera shaking. Let's select the camera and take a look at that stuff. We can probably delete a couple of these just so the camera shaking is not too quick. I probably want to stretch those out a little bit as well. Okay, very fast, but you can notice the camera shaking. You can probably even add, some more significant camera shaking, just to make it look a little bit better. Okay, there we go. That looks a little bit better. Again, this whole thing is pretty fast, but we can probably adjust that later on. And then from here, we'll have a kind of pan around to our character's front, like this, and right about here. All right, something like this. Oh, that was way too fast. Let's take it way over here. All right. Okay, that's kind of a cool camera effect there, I guess. Inadvertent cool camera effect. Running. Okay, and then we want to have the special effects. So again, go to Visuals, Effects, Post Effects, and open up your post effects. They can be found in this folder structure right here, except for the D. You might have it in my template folders or something like that. I'm going to choose the color filter and load in as well the lens blur, and we're good to go. Let's have at frame 1, we want to have those at 0, color filter at 0, and then play back, play back, play back. There, whoops, I missed it, the explosion so fast. Alright, so right there we'll have the red filter at 1, lens blur at 1. That's going to create a keyframe there. I believe those special effects, where are they found? I couldn't find them in the webinar. Not sure. Oh, under projects maybe. Projects effects. There we go, we found it. Alright, so now you learned something you didn't learn in the webinar. Alright, so that creates a keyframe right there, and right here we will have the maximum value for our lens blur, zoom, like that. Position we'll put over here where the explosion is, and down a little bit on the y-axis right there, and color filter, red, we'll make it super red. Alright, so like that, and then it'll gradually go back into, let's just right click on the keyframe here, and the dope track, that'll basically take all the keyframes, and it's kind of like a master keyframe there. We'll paste it to there, so all those values are pasted, and then slowly here we can take off the red filter and the lens blur. Alright, so now we have something like this. Oof. I'll probably take that, expand that a little bit, make it a little bit longer. And I'm going to bring this up. Boom, alright. So everything here is like super fast. I mean, I definitely recommend stretching this out a little bit. Don't make everything so fast like this, but there we go. And from this point on, what we want to do is, we can, animate that guy's head, for example, if we wanted to, like here. Let's just go to preview right here, and we will focus on our dude's body right here, and go into animation, direct puppet. We're going to direct puppet his head right here. But before we do that, what I want to do is at this frame with our character selected, let's go to the frame we're currently at here. There we go. So about right here, I'm just going to, with my character selected, go to Object Related Track, make sure he's in there, and we're going to add a keyframe to our motion layer track right here, and we're also going to add a transform keyframe right there. Right? And then we're going to go to Direct Puppet, and head selected, primary rotation, and just like that. We can't really see him, the fire's in the way. Let's go a little bit closer. Alright, so we'll just record that for a couple seconds, shaking his head like that and looking up. Where am I? Alright, and now what that's going to do is that's going to move him back into the truck, and that's because our direct puppet basically changes our character's root motion. It's a little bit complicated to explain, but all I need to do is, let's try and zoom out of our timeline here. Hold the Alt key and zoom out. Scroll your mouse button to zoom out there. So all I need to do is from here, at the beginning of this clip, if I go into here, this is where he'll start to move. So right here, I'm just going to basically take this motion clip, or rather this transform keyframe, copy, and we're going to paste it right here. Paste right there. Alright, and we're also going to take the motion layer track keyframe, and we're going to post it in the same spot. Alright, so now we have, basically he goes into this position right here, which we do not want, obviously. So what I want to do is just go ahead and close down the direct puppet, and right here, so from here I can actually just take that motion layer keyframe, copy it. Oops, we moved it a little bit. We'll paste it over here. There you go. So now he should be in the same position. Alright. But now this transform position is what we need to change. So from here to here, we just need to bring that transform position forward again. So where he was before was, his butt was right about there. We'll just kind of eyeball this, bring it forward like that. And again, it's because of the transform change. We're just kind of, changing his position right there. Alright. And I'm not going to worry too much about the exact positioning. A bit further back and a bit further down. We spend more time getting this correct. Anyways. Alright, so now he's shaking his head like that, looking around. Cool, so we got pretty much everything taken care of. And that was it for the tutorial, really, I think, the webinar. So if you have any questions, again, email me, kai@reallusion.com, kai@reallusion.com. Let's play that back one more time and take a look at our final example here. Dude running. So again, we created all this in like basically 20 minutes. Really simple, quick process. And there we are. So thanks so much for watching, guys. And check out our forums at forum.reallusion.com. And I'll see you in the next webinar.